Hey, what's going on? My name is Victor Villarreal. I'm the owner of Real Time Results Scalp Micropigmentation, and I've been out of prison for 2 years. This is my journey.
Hey everyone, my name is Roberto. I'm the owner of SB Studios, and I'm excited for you guys to join me today. So this is actually one of my first interviews I've been doing in a while. I'm really excited because I get to talk to somebody that I've been getting to know a lot better on a personal level, and he's just freaking awesome. You're going to hear from him hopefully down the road a little bit more through some other podcasters that I have, and I just can't wait for Victor to start sharing his story a little bit more. So today I'm going to be talking with Victor Villarreal.
Yeah.
Yep. And Victor here is an SMP artist in the Boise, Idaho area. If you don't know what SMP is, that's okay. Listen into the show today and watch out for the clips, and Victor is going to teach you all about it. He's the owner of Real Time Results, which is, again, an SMP studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he helps people change their lives and get their confidence back, and you guys will learn how he does that. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'm excited to introduce to you. Let me get my switcher up. Victor. Victor, how's it going, man?
It's going.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit? I'm really excited for you to share your story because you and I talked already and we got to know each other on a personal level. And I just think you've had an incredible journey that a lot of people need to hear. And I'd be happy to hear it from you again and share it with everybody. So why don't you tell people about who you are real quick and kind of what is it you're doing currently? And then we'll kind of go a little bit into your past.
All right. So yeah, Victor Villarreal. I'm from Caldwell, Idaho, and so am I looking at you or the camera?
Either one.
All right.
I would say.
I want to look at you. Just
Look at
so
me. Yeah,
it's more
look at me.
natural. All
Yep.
right, cool.
You can start over though.
And where I'm from, and who
Yep.
I am, where I'm from.
Yep, just introduce yourself right now.
So yeah, I'm Victor Villarreal. I'm from Caldwell, Idaho. I'm an SMP artist out of Boise, Idaho, and yeah, scalp micropigmentation is for men, women that are balding or thinning that go throughout their day doing everything that they can to conceal their hair loss.
Right, right. And you've when we talked, you're saying this is kind of a bigger thing than we realize. A lot of people deal with hair loss. Is that true?
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you see? When do people generally start dealing with hair loss nowadays? Like what age?
There's no set age. I have clients that are 19 years old all the way up to like 63, 65.
Right.
So it's men, women of all ages.
Got it. So what got you into SMP in the first place? I mean, it's a pretty niche category of hair, right?
Yeah. So I was in barber school and I'm chasing these Instagram haircuts, and I'm getting so frustrated because no matter how hard I was doing it, they weren't coming out like they were on these pictures, right?
Right.
And one of my buddies, he's been a barber for a long time, and I brought it to his attention, and he's like, "Bro, just chill," because a lot of those are hair fibers. People are spray painting the heads,
And you're talking about hair loss solutions, right? Like for that, like the spray painting and the hair fiber stuff.
At the time, it just was to make your cut look better, right? Blend out the flaws and just. And it's more for like those Instagram haircuts or like an event that's coming up. You want to really make a design pop.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was doing everything in my power to really come through with these designs for my clients, and
right.
I just wasn't hitting.
Yeah.
So I eventually went down like the rabbit hole of hashtags, right, on Instagram, and there was temporary enhancements. It just led into like permanent enhancements, head tattoo, scalp micropigmentation, and it started getting my attention, right? And I looked into it, and I was like, a head tattoo, and I'm thinking head tattoo. I'm thinking of,
You're thinking of what? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so, so yeah, I'm looking into it, and I felt if somebody was willing to pay for temporary, they're gonna pay for permanent. You know what I mean? So yeah, I found myself reaching out, I guess through other SMP artists, and my buddy's cousin actually had went through one of the guys that was closer to me out in Utah. His name's H the Technician.
Okay.
And I had reached out to him and yeah, I got certified, and yeah.
So for you were talking about permanent and temporary hair loss solutions.
Hmm.
What do you consider a temporary hair loss solution?
Something that's gonna wash out. Something that you're gonna have to reapply
Hmm.
or reset, or you know what I mean.
Yeah. So that would be wigs.
Wigs, toppers, hair fibers. There's just so many, so
Okay.
many.
And then you would classify SMP in the category of permanent
Yeah,
hair solutions, which would be, uh, I mean, I know they're not the same, but it's kind of similar when people are injecting those hair fibers and they're trying to get it into the head, or they're doing the head tattoos, kind of like you said.
yeah. It's similar. It's similar to the hair fibers, but again, it's permanent and it looks
Hmm.
more natural.
Yeah. Where when did the rise of SMP in your mind kind of start happening? Like, when did you start seeing more people of it and using it? And I guess what was your first exposure to that?
Like I said, I found out through Instagram,
Hmm.
and I don't know if it was because I was talking about it a lot more, but it
Right.
just started popping up,
Just the
right?
algorithm catching it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about from your earlier days? And I think it's important for people to know kind of like how you got to where you are today. You didn't just start as an SMP artist. You obviously had something you were doing before this, and then you're here now. Talk a little bit about where you came from. Where, like, are you from the Boise area? And
So
yeah,
so I kind of want to start out with kind of where it started for me.
yeah, for sure.
Right. So because this was kind of the opening of this journey
Hmm.
to where it got me today.
Right.
So this month it'll be 2 years out of prison.
Hmm.
I
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I topped out. I got 10 years in and out of the prison system, so it's something that I've always known,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing that I've known. Right?
Yeah.
So I remember this exact situation where 3 months prior, 4 months prior to me getting released, right? There was a situation, and I was in the gym, right?
Hmm.
So I was in the gym, and I'm working out, and there's these three guys, right? And they jump on this guy, and they probably beat this guy up for like 15 minutes.
Jeez.
Blood, just they stomped his head out. Like, for me, it was normal, right? For me, it was
Mhm.
normal to see something like that and not even flinch, right?
Yeah.
I minded my business, kept working out.
Yep.
And like I said, this went on for like 15 minutes, and they dragged this guy, this inmate, to the bubble,
Mhm.
and there was 3 COs in the bubble. And in order to get their attention, because they weren't paying attention, they had to bring that inmate to them in order for them to stop it, right?
Oh,
Because,
jeez.
like in prison, there's expectations. You don't stop until you get maced,
Yeah. Right.
right? Or you're gonna be that guy on the floor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So these guys followed suit, did what they had to do. And again, through this whole time, seeing what I was seeing, I continued to work out. It was, I didn't bat an eye,
Yeah.
So let me speed it up. Just, I get out, right? And I get signed up for school through
Mhm.
Paul Mitchell, Nampa,
Mhm.
for the barber program.
Right.
I had background in driving truck, my CDL, right?
Right.
And I didn't want nothing to do with the prison.
Mhm.
I didn't want nothing to do with it after I got out, and
Right.
I just felt like driving truck. Driving truck reminded me too much of being locked up.
Right.
I was in a confined area. I was calling home. I was
Mhm.
away from my family.
Mhm.
It just didn't make sense to me, right?
Yeah.
So I got into the barber program. I remember there was this time when I was locked up that my cellie, we were in there during COVID lockdown, right?
Right. Yeah.
And we were locked down 23 hours a day for the first 3 months. It was like we were out every 2 weeks for 15 minutes, right? To clean up, wash up, and
Right.
go back.
Mhm.
So I remember looking outside the window one time. They were serving lunch, and I'm watching these guys come out of their cell, and there's no how do you say there's no pride. There's no like they kind of let themselves go, right? And I guess being in a cell for that long a period will do that to you.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
Right. And I remember looking at them, and then I went to the mirror and I looked at myself, and man, I looked a mess, right? So
that was just it for you.
Yeah. So I remember I'm running out of places for tattoos, right?
Yeah.
I had a beard trimmer that I was holding to convert into another tattoo machine just in case we got busted and they took it. So I used it for what it was intended for, right? And I cleaned myself up. I gave myself a taper, and it came out really nice, right?
Yeah.
And my cellie, he was down for 8 years. He had 6 left. And he's seen it. He was like, "Hey, dog, hey, clean me up." So I cleaned him up, boom, boom. And we came out. We eventually came out for dinner that night, and everybody was like, "Hey, who cleaned you up? You guys got a barber in there?"
Yeah.
And I kind of snickered, and it made me feel good because I was like, "Yeah, I did it."
Yeah,
I did it.
that's me. Yeah,
you know,
it's my work.
So yeah, so I had thought about that moment, and I was like, you know what, barbering, let's go, let's try it. I talked to a couple people, and they're like, "Hey, try it," you know.
Yeah. And this is all while you were still locked up.
No, it was when I was out.
This is when you were out. Okay.
Yeah,
You're
well,
old.
but I was thinking about that situation. You know what I mean? When I was locked up.
Okay.
And that's what really led me into it. I talked to a couple people, some good friends, and they're like, "Yeah, try it, man."
Yeah.
And so I'm like, "All right, cool, run it, let's go."
Let's go. Yeah.
So I doubted doing it all the way up until the day of, right? So still not knowing what I wanted, still knowing that, you know, like I'm topped out of prison. I have nobody to blame but myself if I fail this time. Right. So,
and that's a really hard, it's really hard to be like that on yourself. Like that's not even somebody telling you that. Like you're coming to that conclusion yourself.
Yeah. I definitely had to hold myself to a higher standard. You know what I mean? And
you
be
were
real
before.
with myself. It's so easy just to blame everybody else on why something isn't working or why you failed, you know? So to own it, you know, that's something else.
A big change for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So like I said, I had doubted everything. I had doubted starting the program. I remember my first day. I'm walking in, and the startup day for Paul Mitchell. It's the Paul Mitchell way to do a clap-in. What a clap-in is you got the new people entering the Paul Mitchell, and they line up, right? They line up on either side, and they cheer you in, and they're clapping, right? So I'm walking down, and I'm just like looking around. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
My heart starts to race. It's pounding. I'm sweating, and man, I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was nervous, right? And then I thought about that situation, the guy, right, getting beat up, and just the violence that was occurring, and me not having no emotion.
Right.
And I get to this program, I get to this beauty school.
Right.
And I'm scared. I'm scared, man. And like I said, I feel like it was be uncomfortable to grow, right? And
do you think it's because people were actually watching you now? And before you maybe felt like people just maybe didn't know who Victor was. Now you got this big group of people clapping for you, just even though you're walking into something you don't know, but like they're paying attention to you now. Eyes are on you.
That could be it.
Yeah,
that could be it. It could be, man. It could be so many different things, but it definitely hit. And like I said, for me to program myself not to give a fuck,
right?
You know what I mean? And be this heartless person and make it easier for me to be away from my daughter, my family, miss out on opportunities that are out there. While I'm hearing everybody else kind of succeeding in life, and I'm stuck. You know, and I felt like when I was locked up, this last time I felt like a cartoon running,
Mm-hmm.
but not going nowhere.
Yeah.
And I just remember telling myself, I said, nah, not again, not this time. Like, I'm going out there and I'm doing something. I don't know what it is that I'm doing, but I'm doing something. I ain't never coming back.
It's not happening again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I it was kind of cool because I got out to nothing,
Mm-hmm.
starting fresh.
Right.
And it's so easy to get caught up on where everybody else is at in life and wanting to be like, fuck, I need to catch up. I need I need to be where they're at. I need to have a house. I need to have a car. I need to have money in my pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
We're always comparing ourselves to everybody
Yep.
else, and we don't even have the same journey.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. So, yeah, man, I started the barber program and I loved it. I loved it. I loved the support, the creativity,
Mm-hmm.
be yourself, right? In an industry where my tattoos are accepted,
Right.
I like that.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure. Yeah, for sure. You're in a place where you're welcomed, essentially,
Yeah.
or you're praised upon because you
Yeah.
got tattoos and everything. Yeah, I hear that.
So I felt all this positivity through this program, and I just told myself I'm gonna put all I have into it.
Right.
So every student competition, every opportunity that Paul Mitchell, the school, had to offer,
Mm-hmm.
I took advantage of.
Okay.
I remember hearing, "Oh, you're doing too much. Like, just get your license, get out." None of this even matters at the end of the day. And I'm
Right.
like, you keep telling yourself that, I'm gonna keep doing me.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah,
And did anyone tell you to go to sign up for all that stuff, or did you, like you kind of just said, you were like, I'm just gonna go all out and give it my best? Like, how do you get to that point to tell yourself, I'm gonna commit to this? Or what was your turning point for committing to Paul Mitchell and getting into the industry? Because
it wasn't really committing to Paul Mitchell. It
Okay.
was committing to myself. It was committing to something else
got it.
than the life that I was used to living. Right.
Yep. There you go. Okay.
And like I said, I gave it my all. I remember there was this. Okay, so going into the barber world, right, from prison,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hey, there's a distance that you hold people at, right?
Right, yeah,
Where
no,
you
for sure.
want you're not just gonna go get in somebody's personal space without
Right.
repercussions,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
right? And then another man and another man ain't gonna be touching. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
said, I cleaned up my celly. That's but to have strangers come in that you don't know, that you've never met,
Mm-hmm.
come get services done by you. And I was doing facials. I was doing straight razor shaves, and you're in somebody's bubble, right? So
Yeah,
to
for sure.
reprogram myself that this is normal.
Ah, I hear you. Okay, I hear you.
You know what I
now.
mean?
Yeah,
Like it was like everything that I had done in this program,
Mhm.
I had to reprogram myself. And it was a good feeling. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
now I wanted to normalize men's skincare,
Mm,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever had a facial?
I have never had a facial. I've had a pedicure and a manicure, and that was about
Listen, you're missing out.
Yo, I
right?
know I am.
remember one of the guys that I was in school with,
it. Mm-hmm.
they actually put us together,
Okay.
right? And they're like, all right, today we're doing facials. You're going to set the mood. We're going to dim the lights. We're going to put the music on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, dog, just hurry up and do it. We don't even have to. And you know what?
Yeah.
I sat down. I remember laying back. That moment was created, right, with the dimming of the lights and the
Right.
music.
Right.
Okay. Now you had the steamer, the hot towels. Man, I fell asleep, right? I enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah.
So I kept it going. And so this is my thing, right? So the prison time that I've done has been over drug sales.
Right.
That's all I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
And to get into the world of barbering, right, into the beauty world, man, I'm not banking just on a haircut.
Yeah.
If I can make extra money for a facial, for a beard lineup, for that extra, I'm going to do that because why not?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why limit myself?
Why not go the extra?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I feel that, and I live that too, man.
Yeah. So like I said, yeah, I definitely got out of my comfort zones. There was this one time a a clothing brand. It was Hairdressers Rock came in,
Mm-hmm.
and this lady, she's like, you know what, like, get out of your comfort zone, say yes,
Do something
live,
different.
live to your full potential, right? And
Right.
I was like, yeah, okay, all right,
Classic.
and, yeah. And I remember the following week, they were like, hey, they actually, this brand actually asked, hey, can you come in and are you willing to be a part of a photo shoot?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, man, I'm a gangster. I ain't no
I ain't no
model.
photo shoot
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean?
And I remember what she was saying. I was like, you know what? All right, cool. Hey, I said, you know what? Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
So I went. First time I ever got makeup put on me.
Oh,
You know what I
God,
mean?
yeah.
But it was cool. It was a good feeling. Again, I was uncomfortable, but I was
Right.
growing. Right. I
Something
was,
new, something different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, there was another thing. It was called the First 100, and it
Mhm.
was the first 100 students out of 150 Paul Mitchell schools
Mm-hmm.
to come up with a $3,000 market in fundraising.
Right.
You would win you would get to go to a gala, right? A gala, advanced cutting classes, and kind of see who's in. It was a networking event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But for barbers or
Barbers, esthetician, cosmetologist,
okay,
nail
beauty
tech.
industry then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is held within Paul Mitchell, right? And I think, I don't know, I was like 30, 40. As soon as they brought this up, we had a month or a morning meeting, and they're like, yeah, this is what's going on. This is like the opportunities.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, right? So I'm already on my phone as this meeting's going, and I'm hitting up everybody. I'm hitting up all the people that said, hey, honestly, like, I had a lot of people, hey, you need anything? You need any drugs to get you by, to help you get money in your pockets? And I remember telling them, nah, I'm good. And I'm going to do right, and in the end, I'll be blessed.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And I live by that. I continue to live by that. And, but I remember reaching back out to everybody in my contacts, Facebook, Instagram, and I was like, hey, check it out. If you were willing to support me then with that,
Mm-hmm.
you should be willing to support me right now with something positive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I lost some friends or contacts or whatever you want to call them, but I actually gained a lot of support too.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
And I remember,
Was it by surprise or was it like what you expected?
I think
What
from,
the support you got?
well, I think from the dope game, my mindset, right?
Mhm.
I had to be appealing to other people, the networking, right? I
Right.
already knew that.
Yeah.
I already knew that. And now I'm putting this energy that I was putting towards something negative to
Mhm.
something positive.
Right. Yeah.
And it's still the same concept.
Mhm.
And some people, could agree or disagree, but it worked for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember getting, I don't know, up to like, I don't know how much it was. It was like 25, and they're keeping a list of who's where and how much. And I kind of let it go. I was like, I have a feeling I'm going to make it. I'm going to go. I'm
Yeah.
going to go. I put that energy out there, and I was really close. And I guess my mom had called.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had called the school. It was the day, it was another morning meeting, and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, we just want to announce we got the first winner. And they moved my name up to it. I'm like, what do you mean? Who put in the rest of the money, right?
Yeah.
And my mom actually had reached out to the school. She heard about what I was doing.
Right.
My mom never seen me put my energy into something positive. She's
Mhm.
always supported me,
Right.
and she's seen the good in me, right?
Mhm.
I'm her son, but
Yeah. But so
She-
the motherly love that you get. Yeah.
But she's seen that. She's seen the strive that I had. She seen that I was actually doing something positive, right?
Right.
And yeah, she had paid for the rest of the 3,000,
Really?
and I was
And
able.
you
to,
didn't know?
I didn't know, and they told me, and they told me during the huddle meeting who it was, and they had an announcement, and it felt good because now I'm having support from my loved ones.
Yeah.
They're seeing that I'm changing. They're seeing that
Yeah.
I'm doing something different, and
You're not just talking the talk, you're
Yeah.
walking the walk now. For
because
sure.
I could always say, hey, I'm gonna do good.
Yeah, of course.
And people are going to be like, all right, yeah. Okay, we heard it before. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? But
mhm.
I know I'm changing inside.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm doing something different,
Right.
and for the people around me to start seeing that I'm changing and I'm doing something different, that felt good.
Yeah. No, of course.
Yep.
Yeah. So would you say that when you found out that ones that loved you or they're supposed to love you the most were supporting you, it kind of gave you more purpose or helped you, take this to the next level?
It definitely helped. It definitely helped. But what I've come to learn is I got 6 sisters,
Yeah.
right? And I've been put in some pretty messed up situations. Relationship issues and whatnot with them, and I'm the brother. I want to go to bat for them, and
Right.
I put myself in these situations where it could be potentially drowning me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I had to understand that I kind of had to put these walls up. I love my sisters. I love my family, right? But there's some unhealthy aspects of it.
Yeah.
And I had to put up my guard, not anything against them, but because I know I could be doing better, and I know what I'm wanting, and that wasn't helping me.
Right.
And it hurt because I want to be there, but
Yeah.
I know for my nieces and nephews to have a role model that's doing good and that's switching up everything he's ever known is a lot more meaningful.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people will naturally struggle with things that they don't know, or like if they don't know, what's going to happen with this new job or this new investment, or just taking a risk on yourself. Yeah. And I think making the hard decision to sacrifice some things in order to gain others are some of the hardest things that you ever have to do. And family, people that you've known for a long time, and relatives, whoever it is, it could be somebody you just recently met, and that you probably shouldn't start spending more time than you already are with them. It really makes you check yourself, I would say. It puts you in a perspective where you're like, is this what I want? Does this align with where I'm headed? And if it doesn't, how do I get out of it? Like just removing yourself from the situation.
Yeah, and I now I understand that you can love from a distance, right?
Because that's really good, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know what? It's based on that person. It's
oh yeah.
It's up to them to change and want that.
Yeah.
And I don't care what program, what prison sentence you give these people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what they're gonna have to want.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the key part.
So for you, and again, because I know everyone's different, but what, if you want to talk about it a little bit, what was like the one thing that made you realize that you wanted that?
Wanted what?
You wanted something different. You wanted what you are, where you are now. You obviously couldn't predict the future, and you didn't think that you can't see exactly where you're going to be, but kind of like what you said, and you ended up where you were early on from making bad decisions, just doing things that you probably wouldn't do today. But what made you want to change it and give that all up? I know you already mentioned the moment where you were in the shower and you saw that experience, and that made you realize a couple things. But like, I don't know if you could share anything about what was, I guess, the breaking point for not wanting what you had anymore and just wanting something different.
It's not just one thing. It's not one thing. It's things that happen over and over and over again, right?
Got it. Yeah.
And you start to get tired of losing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be on the winning team. Everybody wants to be cheered for.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone wants to be supported in some sort of way, whether we say it or not. Yeah.
And I just knew, I knew, I looked around me in prison, and I knew, like, this ain't it for me.
Yeah.
This ain't it for me.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that I could do better, be better. And it wasn't that I was trying to be better than anybody else.
Right.
I knew I was better than what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. And challenging yourself against who you think you are, I think is probably the hardest battle that a lot of people face.
Well, I've done a lot of growing, right? I've done a lot of growing, a lot of accepting ownership of what I've done, right? And to learn where it started, to learn, like I went through this, it's called PSI seminar, and they go into depth. They go into depth, and I fought this program because I was like, okay, a seminar,
Yeah,
all
you're like
right.
whatever. Mm-hmm.
And I'm still like that. I still feel like that, but I got some good stuff out of it. And
Yeah.
I learned what I learned about myself was growing up. Like I said, I had 6 sisters,
Mm-hmm.
a single mother, um, but I was the only boy.
Yeah.
No man taught me how to be a man.
Right.
And that was hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I was dealing with, my mom would never say, "Hey, go be a gang member,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there was a situation that led up to it, and the reason why I'm speaking on it is because for the longest time I put on this mask.
Yeah.
Right? I gave my attention to something that wasn't me.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm talking about is I went and got jumped in. I went and started hanging out in the streets because my mom's best friend, she was like an aunt to me.
Yeah.
Right? It was a sexual abuse case where she started jumping into bed with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like 11. And I grew up with her. She changed my diapers.
Yeah.
Right? And it came down to a situation where it kept happening over and over again. And I'm a kid.
Yeah.
I'm not knowing what to feel, how to feel about it,
Mm-hmm.
what to think. Do I like this? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I ran away. I ran away from home. I went to get away.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself, like I said, in a gang.
Yeah.
I was always bigger. I was the protector, right? But it was
Yeah.
more for my family, for my
Got it.
sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember fighting off my mom's ex-husband and kind of growing up in a violent structure growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's kind of what you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew the violence. I knew how to stick up for myself. I knew how to be big. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I got stuck in the streets. And that's what I knew. And for this whole time, like I said, I started doing time at 17.
Yeah.
I'm 32 now, so I wasted a lot of time and energy into something, into a mask I was putting on.
Yeah.
And I know there's more people out there that are doing something that they're eventually going to snap out of because that's not them and want to put their energy into something else.
Right. Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that mask that you're talking about can be in a lot of different shapes and forms, and it can come from what you do, like in habits, I guess, or what you think you're supposed to be doing on a day to day. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I probably took a long time to figure out what I was thinking that I needed to do. And I have a very similar experience where I was at a point in my life that I guess other people would say you made it.
Mm-hmm.
You got what everybody wants, and you're good. But deep down inside, I was not. I wouldn't say I wasn't happy, but I just wasn't fulfilled because I knew this wasn't my end goal, or this wasn't really where I wanted to be just quite yet. And it's not to say that I wasn't grateful, but we tend to live our lives through what other people think it should be, and then that hurts a lot of people, I would say. Yeah.
And like back to the schooling stuff, right? So again, I took advantage of every opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 100 Dean's List, honors,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going the extra mile and learning everything that they have to offer, right?
Right.
And I was there early every morning, right before school. I was the last one to leave. I sacrificed. I wasn't out getting energy drinks and this and like going through school fresh out of prison. I was broke.
Mm-hmm.
I was broke. I was going to school full time. I stay with the fitness stuff because that's my getaway. That's my counseling.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's where my release. So yeah, so I go through the program. I meet some really cool people. I go through. So it's the ending of my hours, right?
Right.
It's like the last. Hey, you got, I don't know, 30 hours left,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, you know what? You there's this thing. It's called Beacon,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's sort of like the first 100 where they handpick everybody.
Yeah.
But this time they handpick 100 students out of the whole U.S. of beauty schools, right? That's huge. You know
Yeah.
how many beauty schools there are in the U.S.?
There's a lot.
There's a lot,
There's a
right?
lot. I know that.
And I remember they're like, all you need to do, you've done everything. All you need to do is submit a video.
Okay.
And I remember I submitted this video, and before I'm like, okay, how do I do this? How do I?
Have you ever submitted a video to anything in your life?
Right? So I'm looking at everybody's, and it's just plain blah, like, hey, my name is, and I didn't want. I'm nervous when it comes to cameras. You can kind of tell right now.
No,
but
you're good. You're doing good.
I remember I stayed up that night. I put all these pictures together and I did a voiceover. I learned how to do like I worked with this app, this InShot app, and it was pretty simple. I put it together and I kind of shared my journey of where I was to what I did within this meantime up to the first 100.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool, right? It was cool. I submitted it. So I finished school right there. We weren't going to find out who won until a few months, right?
Yeah.
So in between me completing the barber program, I had a week in between.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually saved up my student loan and I actually put it towards getting certified in scalp micropigmentation.
Okay.
So I had went down there to Utah. I took my my model. We went down there. I did her head. I loved it.
Yeah.
Right. I got it. I feel like I got into the beauty world. I was so used to the hurt and the pain and to make somebody feel good.
Yeah.
With their appearance, like that hit.
Yeah, it's a lot different than what you've been experiencing.
Yeah,
sure.
but to add to permanently make somebody feel better, like the haircut, was temporary.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But SMP, it's permanent. It's permanent and done properly. It's undetectable. It's undetectable, and that's what really matters, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, like I said, I went over there, and through this week, I finished the barber program, clapped out. I started. I went and got certified, and then I started the esthetician program.
Okay.
I wanted to learn more about skin.
Yeah.
For the SMP and to be able to offer different services, right? Because I'm still trying to. I just don't want to cut hair. I want to do more. I want to do VIP services. I don't want to rush through a client, go through 25 heads. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So like I said, I started esthetician school.
Mm-hmm.
And I did really good. I was the only guy in the program. I've done waxings, facials, back treatments.
Nice.
Spray on tans, lashes, eyebrows.
You seem like
makeup.
You've done it all. Yeah, you've done it all.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was a good experience. And again, getting outside of my comfort zone, right? To be the best for my clients. The best for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You didn't want to half-ass it, let's say, I guess.
Yeah.
You wanted to make sure that you're giving it, if you're going to do it, you're going to give it your all. You're going to go all in.
Yep. So so my first month in a shop, I'm going to school full time.
Yeah.
This was a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
My first month in the shop, I was certified in SMP. I just got licensed as a barber.
Yeah.
And I'm going to school full time. And I remember telling myself, okay, what do I want to make? What do I want to make my first month in a shop?
Yeah.
I got to put numbers out there. And
you were trying to set yourself up
at
least so you felt like you were working towards something. Yeah.
So I put a goal out there to make $5,000.
Okay.
And everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, right? You're really going to do that.
Yeah.
I made that my first 2 weeks in the shop with scalp micropigmentation. I was able to enjoy learning to cut hair outside of school.
Yeah.
And still focus on getting better at scalp micropigmentation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I guess this whole last year, I was building my SMP clientele, my
Yeah.
SMP content,
Mm-hmm.
my barber clientels,
Yeah.
and going to school.
And have you made more than $5,000 in a month now?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
There
I'm
you
doing
go.
all right. And
Isn't
you
it
know
crazy how you probably even had a little bit of doubt too, like at that point, very early on? No?
No,
Really?
because
Well, I apologize for saying you did, because
Yeah.
look at that.
you can't have doubt when
There you go.
you know you just can't give yourself that energy. So
I love that, dude, because it's so hard to. I mean, I get it, and some days, I mean, yeah, maybe I'm throwing a little doubt my way, but just hearing you say that is gonna push me a little bit harder. Like, come on, man, we got this.
well,
Like,
check it off. When you give yourself an option,
yeah,
that's a possibility.
got it. Yeah. So,
So-
no plan B then.
So no plan B, man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this. I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up and show out.
Got it.
You
Love
know.
it.
So, yeah, I did really good in the SMP. I started out 1 day, then it was 2 days, then 3 days. Now I'm doing SMP at least once a day.
Got it.
Today I've brought in 38 new SMP artists to my area.
Damn.
I wanted to share this service with people, right? Because I'm not gonna touch every head out there that
Yeah.
are balding or thinning, right?
Yeah.
That's just impossible.
You're being realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I could help somebody learn something that's been a service that's been impactful for me and a client,
Yeah, for sure.
like keep that energy going. I don't want to hide it. This is
Yeah.
something that I feel like the world should know about, and a lot of people still don't know what scalp micropigmentation is.
Yeah.
So I feel like every chance that I get where I could say, hey, my approach is different, because in the beginning I'd be in the gym and I'm like, hey, I noticed you're balding or thinning, and it, you know what I mean. There's a proper way
Yeah,
to
for
learn.
sure.
And it's experience, right?
Yeah,
It's all right. What's working? What's not working? Obviously, that wasn't working.
Yeah.
So let's switch it up.
Yeah,
right?
let's switch it up a little bit.
So
It's a pretty aggressive approach, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and so yeah, I've actually completed 52 heads my first year.
Nice.
That's kind of unheard of.
What do people normally complete in their first year that
so-
you know of?
So I went to the International Scalp Convention in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with my mentor, and he's like, listen, we really got to go to this, right? And
Yeah.
So I went, I networked with everybody. There was people from Dubai, Australia, people from everywhere. I was the only one from Idaho.
Right.
So I'm talking to these guys, and I'm like, well, how long you been in the game? Oh, I've been doing SMP for 3 years. I'm like, oh, cool. How many heads have you done? Oh, I've done 20. I'm like 20. I'm like, oh, okay. Other people, I've talked to them, and same thing. Oh, I've been in the game for 2 years. I got 10 heads in. It's really starting to take off. And I'm like, 10? No way. Like, and they asked me, well, how many heads you got in? I'm like, well, right now I'm sitting at 37. And they're like, well, let me see your work. And I'm showing them my work, and they're
Yeah.
like, and how long have you been doing it? You know what I mean? So everything, all the money that I've gotten from SMP has went back into my business for my
Yeah,
clients'
for sure.
comfortability.
Yeah.
Then my comfortability, right? Because they're sitting there, and I'm taking care of these guys, and I want them to be comfortable in a setting, right?
Yeah.
And I finally had a really good location. It's good. I like it.
Good.
Good vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it going then? So you got your shop now. You've said you were building your client base, your content for SMP and everything. What are some big things that you're working on right now? When you and I first got to meet, I know you were hosting a workshop for potential SMP artists.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because of all the work that I put in, I've stood out, I feel.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
especially to my mentor, the first person I got certified out in Utah.
Yeah.
So I know I'm 20,000 into all my certifications alone.
Jeez. Yeah.
Right. I want to know more. There's just so many great artists out there. There's so many bad artists out there. I want to know what's good, what's bad, what's in between.
Yeah.
How can I be better? Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like the work that I put in stood out to my mentor and was like, you know what? Hey, I got a lot of people from Idaho wanting to learn this service, and I want you to be a part of the growth out there.
Nice. Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's go.
Let's do something. Yeah.
Right. You got to say yes to opportunities. Don't hesitate. Just get in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, what I bring to the table as a new SMP artist my first year is the skills that I've learned, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all the questions that our students have
Yeah.
are fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I
you're
had those
living
questions.
it, and
Yeah.
you did it, you lived it, and you're still probably, you got the answers to them. You got to answer them every day.
So it's more like I was in school, right? And there was guest artists that would come in.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these guest artists were like, yeah, I've been in the game. I've been in the beauty world for 20 years. I've been in the beauty world for 15, 10. And I'm like, that's not appealing to me, right?
Yeah.
I've went in as a guest speaker,
Mm-hmm.
and I know these students are looking at me like, how long have you been in the game?
Yeah.
What do you mean you just topped out from prison and you're
talking
doing
to us?
amazing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's more motivation for them.
Yeah.
Like that's that instant gratification. That's the world we're living in. Like people want to see results. Okay, you want
Yeah.
to see results, do something different. You put in the work.
Totally. Yep.
You know, and don't blame it on anybody else. Get in there and do something.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think a lot of people when it's weird today in how we're living, and people are either getting, they're supporting of your successes, or they kind of just shoot you down and they're like, you got lucky, or you had something I didn't have, or you got an opportunity that if what happened to me, I would have done it, or something like that.
Well, I've heard a lot of, well, you don't have nothing going on, and that's the reason why you are where you're at. I take offense to that. I take a hit.
Absolutely,
I take a hit in that. And I want to touch base on another subject is I move the way I move because I've been in situations where I wasn't proud of. I got stuck in addiction. I remember waking up and needing a needle in my arm just to get by.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody else was there during that time.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yep.
I earned this.
Yeah.
I'm doing something different.
Right.
And nobody's going to take that away from me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. My mom used to, I recently was dealing with some pretty rough stuff in the past couple years, or in the past year essentially, and my mom reminded me on a day that I was just really upset, and she could tell that it was just beating me down, and she reminded me, she goes, she calls me Robert. She goes, Robert, she goes, you do realize that, she goes, and she's a little harsh on it, but I get what she's trying to say, but she's bringing up the point. She goes, everyone dies eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, it may be sad, but when the people you love pass away, or when you pass away eventually, she goes, the matter of the fact and the truth is that you die by yourself. You die alone. Nobody's holding your hand. I mean, yeah, you may have people at your side if you pass away, but like when you're gone. You're gone, and it's just you, and you're left with yourself. And at the end of the day, if you have all these regrets and these resentments and all this anger, and you think it's because of everyone else, it's going to be a pretty hard ending. And I don't personally want to get to that. I don't want to blame other people, point fingers, and just live my whole life blaming others.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, and I don't want to imagine what it would feel like to be at the end and still have those kind of thoughts. And I think it's really important for people to kind of, what do you call it? Maybe it's self-inventory, self-check, kind of like what you were saying. And if too many times you're sitting there and you're like, why is everyone turning me down? Or why am I, why are things always happening to me that are bad?
You got to start looking at the common denominator.
Yeah, you really got to start looking at what really is the problem here.
Yeah, so you touch base on the whole, like, for the longest time I felt bad about doing good, right?
Right.
Because there was people in my life that, like I said, I've done a lot of time, right? So how is it, in the beginning, it was hard for me to kind of feel like I'm turning my back on the people that I was in misery with, right?
Right.
When I needed something to eat and they had something in their box, hey, here you go. Hey, soap, hygiene, like, hey, we got you. Don't trip, right?
Yeah.
And I really had to think about that. I really had to think about, one, did these people, I'm not going to say none of them cared about me, right?
Right.
But the majority of them, were they there in misery for me?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, they put themselves in a situation and they happen to find themselves with me.
Yeah.
Not because, hey, you know what? I know he's locked up right now, and I know he's alone, and I know he's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's away from his family.
Yeah.
So I care enough to go do something stupid and get locked up and go back to get in there with him and be there for him.
Yeah.
Nah.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've definitely built relationships. I still keep in touch with a lot of people. I got JPay. I'm not sending nobody money. I'm sending people pictures of places and things that I've seen since I've been out, right?
Yeah.
The guys that are hitting me up for money, like, I'm good on that. You find the hustle, do something different. But the guys that really want to see, like, there's some lifers in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They ain't ever getting out.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing from them, man, these guys keep coming in and out. I've seen this guy 20 times since the last time I've been, like, for my 15 years.
Yeah.
That guy's not getting out. He's already experienced more than what I've experienced and wanted change.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember talking to one and he goes, hey, you know what? Get out there, homie. Do good.
Yeah.
Do good. Live life. Don't waste no more of it.
Yeah.
That helped too. Like, there was these little things that kept solidifying my decision to do better
Speaking
and be
to you.
better.
Yeah. And you're kind of just seeing it. It's just getting thrown at you. And you're like, this is, I know deep down inside, this is, not the end. No, that's crazy, man. That's good. Victor, honestly, I think your story hits on a lot of, why I wanted to start the company that I have and do podcasting with people. And because I truly think that, again, everyone's journey is different, but just hearing from others that may have a similar situation or may have something that is bogging them down or something that's getting in their way and making them feel like they're the only one. I think it's really important for people to not only hear from people like you, but to see it firsthand and to maybe get to know you a little bit, or just see what it is that you're doing, or other people they want to kind of emulate what they're doing as well.
Yeah, well, that's this whole purpose of me wanting to do this podcast is I want to brand myself.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is there's going to be an SMP artist, there's going to be a barber, an esthetician, a cosmetologist. That's just not for you. It's not your person, right?
Right.
And there's so many different artists out there.
Yeah.
I want people to know what I've been through and know why I'm putting the work in that I'm putting in.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to brand myself so they could choose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because in these conversations, so when it comes to scalp micropigmentation, I'm starting out with complete strangers.
Right.
That are coming to me to better their hair loss and feel better, right?
Yeah.
As a complete stranger, and the majority of my SMP procedures, we've become friends.
Yeah.
Because we're talking 3 hours. I got a 3-hour session with this person. I'm hearing how hair loss has impacted them.
Yeah.
Relationships, just a whole different their life story. There's just so much, man. And like I said, at the end of it, we're friends, and I want to keep that going. I want to share those experiences with other people,
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really cool that you're already thinking long-term with the classes and the things that you're teaching to get other artists in the industry. You're not, like you said way earlier, you're not hiding this. You want it to catch on fire, essentially, and you would love for other people to be in the area working in the same thing that you're doing, and probably having a similar vision of supporting people that want the help, and then the artists themselves.
And you know what? Honestly, it's not even really SMP. Like, find a passion, find something that makes you feel good, that you're doing good in the world.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get something beneficial back. I promise you that.
Got it. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Because, again, we said earlier, not everyone's the same. But if you can apply something that you've heard here today, and you obviously did from real life situations, trauma and hurt and pain, look where you're at today. Yeah. You're able to take those experiences and apply it to what it is that you want. Yeah. What would you tell somebody that maybe just listen in, whether they listen to one of our clips or they listen to the whole show? You had a message to send in to anybody that's just, they're kind of tired of it, like you said, and they're just done. They want something different.
So like a big thing is I want people to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the beginning, I thought in order to do right, I just didn't have to do bad,
Yeah,
right?
got it.
Nah, every day I'm waking up and I'm choosing to do good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to match yesterday's energy
Right.
and doing the most, right? I wake up early, find yourself a routine. Find another thing is change people, places, and things.
Got it.
Okay, for the longest time, I thought I could still be around the homies and still be around somebody else's addiction, and it's not going to impact my life.
Yeah.
But we talk about options, right?
Right. Right.
And when something's in the playing field, you could possibly be the next. You know what I mean? Like,
You'd be the next player.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
So stop giving yourself excuses. Put in work. Do something different. Everybody got some stories, and I think a lot of it, like even when I was locked up, I looked at, and I know it's messed up,
Mm-hmm.
but it helped me. And it was looking at the next. I was like, oh man, I got 5 years
Yeah.
prison. But then I looked at somebody else's story, and hey, this guy he has a life.
Mm-hmm.
He has 15. He has 10.
Yeah.
Look at somebody else's story, and be grateful for your own.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Yeah, I would say don't compare
Yeah.
and don't overanalyze, but use it to empower yourself. Unfortunately, that somebody else had this, this negative outcome from a decision they made in their life, and use it as a learning lesson. Use it as a tool of empowerment for yourself. Motivation doesn't have to always be speaking in powerful words and words of affirmation. It can be, seeing the real truth out there and seeing what actually happens in life when you make one decision over another.
Yeah.
And I think what you talked about today is very important for a lot of people to hear. And I'm really excited to hopefully get you to keep sharing more of this, keep talking about it more, getting to get comfortable, sharing who you are. Because it took me a little bit too as well to get to this point. And this is the first episode I've done in a long time. It's been over 2 years since I've even put myself on a camera. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But when I met you and kind of after today, and even like yesterday, I probably had a little bit of a rough day. It is really refreshing, and it's so, to me, it's beauty and like real life to see and to hear from people like you. Because not saying that I don't want what you had, but if I have people that are shooting for the stars like I want to, it just makes it a lot easier.
No, yeah.
It just makes it so much easier, man.
Yeah.
And so thank you for talking with me today. And it's been a blessing meeting you. I know we took a while to get here.
Yeah, no, and that's the beauty of it. It's the journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like one thing that you and I share in common is a little bit of just commitment to ourselves. You're like, I'm going to stick this out. I'm going to do this. And I've been doing the same. So I think our energies match pretty well. But we're probably going to wrap up here because we're hitting about an hour.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, if people that are listening, Victor here is not going to be slowing down anytime soon. He's just going to be getting bigger. He's going to be growing, and he's going to be looking for other artists, right? You want people to get into SMP as well. Yeah. Why don't you tell people how to find you, connect with you? Where are you on your socials, emails, stuff like that?
As far as the social goes, I'm under Real Time Results LLC on Instagram.
Yep.
There, my link tree's there. You could contact me through email. I got my business phone set up, my location there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Well, Victor, thanks for hanging out with me today, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I don't even know what we'll title it, but I know that we're going to get a lot of good. I think we'll get a lot of good response.
Branding.
There we go. I like that. Thank you. So we'll do that actually, and then I can't wait to release it. And again, man, thank you for just being who you are, being authentic, and sharing that vulnerability, because I think that's all that the world needs today, is to hear from people that are just like them. Yeah. So thanks, man, and thank you to everybody listening. Again, I'm Roberto, the owner of SB Studios. We help people start podcasts and share their stories. So if you guys want to do the same, hit us up. And if you guys want to meet Victor or ever get done up by him, hit him up and he'll take care of you. Thanks, guys.